Note: the following are excerpts from a notebook belonging to Monica Perkins, a paranormal investigator who had been declared missing for nearly 2 months. Her notebook was found on the sidewalk close to an abandoned house. 9:20 p.m. I just arrived. It took me months of countless interviews and research, but finally, I found it. The haunted house whose existence this town refuses to acknowledge. I'm standing at this old front porch now, and from the look of it, the house seems ordinary enough, but many people suspect something unnatural is dwelling within. To share a bit of history, it is said that Frank and Mary Williams, their 8-year-old daughter Sally, and Frank's brother Johnny lived there until 1966. Johnny Williams was secretly a serial sex offender who murdered his niece, apparently to spite his brother over an unknown matter, and was given a life sentence without the chance of parole. Justice was served, but his punishment didn't last. A month after his conviction, the guards found Williams' dead body laying in the middle of his cell. The cause of death was never specified because there were no signs of bodily damage or harm, and his medical records stated that he was clinically healthy prior to his death. After Johnny's death, Frank and Mary moved out of state due to their overwhelming shame and grief, never to be seen again. A few families tried to move into their old house, but they never stayed there for long. All the homeowners who followed reported hearing giggles in the middle of the night, toys being left haphazardly on the floor, and the TV would change channels to cartoons against the occupant's will. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it is said that the adults would show increasingly prevalent signs of mental instability, paranoia being the most common. The children, however, remained completely unscathed. I'm sure this will be my most intriguing case so far, so I'll write down everything I can find, and if absolutely nothing happens, and I find out that all I've been hearing is just smoke and mirrors, well, that's my job as a paranormal investigator, to uncover the truth. I don't know how long I'll be staying, so I bought some supplies just in case. Besides the notebook, I got a flashlight, a camcorder, a UV torch, a nutrient bar, a bottle of water, a radiation detector, and a crowbar. I don't have a partner to assist me, so I obviously should be more careful. Fortunately, that's what I'm good at. I have traveled a great distance to get there, so it had better be worth it. Let's see how my persistence finally pays off. 9:55 p.m. Just finished checking the first floor. I knew there was something strange about this house the moment I entered. Supposedly, no one has entered this house in decades, and the decrepit exterior is proof of that. But the interior is a whole other story. I don't see a speck of dust anywhere. I checked the wooden furniture to find no signs of rot, and the wall heaters are still warm. Someone must have been here recently. Still, there is no power here. I confirmed that when I tried to turn on the lights. Most of the electronics here are not plugged in, but I won't plug them in because I don't want to take risks. I checked the other rooms with my camcorder, but I didn't see anything interesting. But this is just the first floor. I still need to check the second floor and the attic. I'm still trying. While I was writing, the television in the living room turned on by itself. I checked it 5 minutes ago and it wasn't even plugged in. The TV itself is ancient, probably made around the 1950s, but it works very smoothly. The TV showed a looped black and white animation of Mickey Mouse walking down a street. I began to feel slightly unsettled, but I shook off that fear and did a little test. I changed the channel, and once I did, I was shown another cartoon, Tom and Jerry. Then the channel started changing on their own. I saw a portion of an episode of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, and many other old cartoons. A few seconds later, the TV turned off, and I couldn't turn it back on. It didn't take long for me to realize that all the cartoons I saw were made in the 1950s and 60s, which means they fit the period of Sally's death. From this, I have two possible explanations. Either the rumors are true after all, or some squatter had somehow entered the house and is now being an a-hole by trying to mess with me. I'm leaning on the former, though, because while the channels were changing, my detector beeped slightly. I need to check the second floor. I'm sure I'll find something in there. 10:28 p.m. The first thing I noticed as I ascended the stairs was that the air felt much colder than on the first floor. I don't know what causes this, but it's giving me a slight shiver. Anyways, I checked the bedrooms. The master bedroom is clean and untouched, whereas the guest room is completely trash. The bed is disassembled, the clothes have been burnt and piled up in a corner, and the furniture is either covered in bloodstains or rat droppings. What I found interesting, aside from the awful smell, was an old frame photograph. The frame was shattered and dusty, and the picture showed a bearded man smiling at the camera, but his eyes had been scribbled out in crayon. I'm sure that Johnny Williams used to sleep here. I took the photograph out of its frame and put it into my pocket just in case. Sally's room was entirely different. When I opened the door, I got hit by a blast of heat. If I was still a little girl, I would have been overjoyed. The light in this room was on. The bed was neatly made. There was no dust at all, and there were a lot of stuffed animals laying either on the floor or on the bed. Bunnies, lambs, puppies, tigers, and mainly teddy bears. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's something off about these animals. When I entered the room, it almost felt like the toys were looking at me. There's a particular stuffed bear that gives me the creeps, and I swear to you, every time that thing is out of my visual field, it moves. 12:06 a.m. Oh God. Oh God. How can things get so bad so fast? Alright, I need to write this down while I still can. The bathroom was the last room I checked on the second floor, but of course it was locked. Luckily, I still had the crowbar. I placed it between the door and its frame and pulled with all my might. The door resisted, but I managed to open it. The bathroom was darker than the other rooms. I checked, but I was not prepared for what awaited me inside. There were bloodstains and spiderwebs everywhere, and everything smelled horrible. The phrase, "How do you like it?" was written on the wall in a black substance that I couldn't identify. In the tub laid a decayed corpse of a bearded man. Judging by how he looked, I'm sure that if anyone else saw him, they would have either puked or couldn't tell who he was. I looked back at the message and then at the body again. I glanced over at his beard. It was oddly familiar. I pulled out the photo I found in the guest room and compared the man in it to the body. They matched. I was looking at Johnny Williams' dead body. Countless questions flooded my mind when I saw him, and it didn't take me long for me to try to come up with an explanation for this. When Johnny died in prison, no one in his family wanted to take his body and bury him, and his organs weren't donated, so he was buried in a cemetery near the prison. But the real question was, why was he in the bathroom? Who dug up the body, and how did they manage to take it to the bathroom of his house without being seen? I think I came up with a believable theory. The old newspapers I read said that Sally was murdered in the bathroom on the second floor, and maybe the one who took his body decided to leave it there to mock him. When I saw the body, my detector went absolutely nuts. I quickly took the camcorder and checked the bathroom. When I pointed the lens at Johnny's body, it just wasn't there, but when I put the camcorder aside, I jumped in horror when I realized that the body was gone. I wanted to leave immediately, but when I was about to go, the door closed behind me. I swear I didn't touch it. Whatever light came from the doorway had disappeared, leaving me in pitch darkness. I was never afraid of the dark, but I was absolutely terrified. I tried to open the door, but it was locked again. I desperately tried to turn the knob, but to no avail. I knew that something like that wasn't possible. I had compromised the lock. It was as if it had magically repaired itself, and someone locked me inside. And to make matters worse, the crowbar was outside the room. About a minute later, I heard a giggle coming from behind me. I immediately stopped and turned around. There was no sound other than the constant beep of my detector. I slowly took my flashlight out of my bag. Hesitantly, I pressed the button and the whole room was lit up, only to see nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was confused, but then I had an idea. I shakingly pulled out my camcorder and turned it on. Through the small screen of my camera, I saw a little girl holding a brown stuffed bear, the one that scared me back then. Some parts of her body were soaked with water, and her skin was covered in bruises and bleeding wounds that looked fresh. She wore a simple yet dirty pink nightgown that went down to her knees. Her brown hair was unkempt, and her green eyes seemed to stare into my soul. Lastly, if not for the thin lines of blood trickling down her face from her forehead, I would have said I was looking at a perfectly normal little girl. When I saw her, I wanted to scream, but my jaw just hung open, with no sound coming out of it. The girl just smiled at me. Maybe someone else would have regarded this gesture as cute, but at that moment, I had never felt so terrified. The bones of my legs became weak, and my stomach became increasingly heavy, and I watched as she tilted her head slightly to one side. Then she spoke to me in a friendly, almost sing-songy voice.
Hi there, I'm Sally. Would you like to play with me?
I immediately shook my head and started to slam my body against the wooden door in an attempt to break it. The door was more durable than it looked, but the sight of Sally slowly making her way toward me just pushed me to slam harder. After 5 tries, I managed to bust through the door and ran like hell down the stairs, my aching shoulder being the last thing on my mind. I left some of my stuff behind, but I didn't care. All I wanted was to get out of the house and never return. I rushed downstairs and ran straight for the door. A wave of relief washed over me as my hand touched the metal doorknob. I opened the door, ran right through it, and I stopped. I found myself on the 2nd floor, and the door right behind me belonged to the guest room. I could have sworn I exited the house, that the 1st floor was right behind me. I was wrong. I didn't get out. When I realized what had happened, I heard a light-hearted chuckle from the kitchen. It's her. In every room I enter, I hear her inviting me to play, but she becomes angrier by the minute. Now she's furious. I quietly snuck into the laundry room and hid in a huge pile of unwashed clothes. I've been here for almost half an hour now, but from my perspective, it's been ages. I don't know what she'll do to me if she catches me, but I think it's best if I stay hidden. I can hear her clearly now. I have to keep going. Time unknown. I think it's been a few days, and I lost track of time long ago. I ran out of food and water. I lost my equipment while trying to escape, except for this notebook. It's funny, almost. I feel like a cartoon character going through doors in a hallway and then popping out of another door in the same hallway. I have seen the same damn rooms for days. I hid in as many hiding places as I could find here. I am in the attic now. It's the dustiest room in the house. No, it doesn't even feel like a house at this point, but it's the safest place I have found. I tried multiple times to get out of this place, either through a door or by jumping out of a window, but I just ended up in other rooms, trying my best to escape the walking corpse of Johnny and to avoid moving stuffed toys. It's only a matter of time before I get caught or starve. I know she's near. She invites me to play. She's absolutely furious now and is screaming like a banshee. She keeps saying I'm a trespasser, and I have no choice but to play with her, but I don't know what she's planning. I don't know what she will do if I accept her offer. If she just wanted to kill me, then she would have ended it a long time ago by phasing through the walls and finding me or something like that. Maybe she doesn't want to kill me. What if she plans to do something even worse? I don't know if I'll die here, but if someone finds this outside of this cursed place, then please, don't end up like me. I can assure you that the rumors are true. Something unnatural does dwell within. But if you find this notebook around this house, well, it's already too late for you. This is a labyrinth with no exit. Hope is useless here. I'm not willing to take the chance of playing with that girl, but you can try your luck, or you can die here.